Do you own a small camper or RV trailer? Do you wish there was a practical and affordable complete climate control solution for both hot and cold weather? Well, wonder no more.
Hey there, welcome to tinyrevolution.us and another one of our how-to in our ever-growing tiny house how-to series. Now, today we're actually not at the tiny house. We're doing something a little bit different, and as you can see, it's another sweltering day here in Middle Georgia. It's about 98 degrees, even though it's September. And we're preparing, actually, in front of our pop-up camper, we're preparing to install the ClimateRight 7000 Max, CR 7000 Max, and that's a fantastic unit. ClimateRight, of course, is one of our sponsors at Tiny Revolution, and they provided us with the 7000 unit, which is about a 60-pound unit. The temperature range is fantastic. It's a portable air conditioner and heater. It's good for about 350 cubic feet all the way up to about 1,200 cubic feet. So it's perfect for our 14-foot pop-up camper. Now, because it is portable, we're not going to be doing anything permanent. We're not going to be screwing down the unit. We're not going to be bracing the unit, that sort of thing. In fact, the design that we have essentially is when we get to a campground, we're going to be able to take the CR 7000. We're going to be able to put it on the tongue of our pop-up camper where the propane bottle traditionally goes, and then we're going to have it be able to run into the pop-up, which means cutting a hole. Two holes actually, one hole for the blower, one hole for the return, and be able to provide our pop-up with AC and heat. Now, our pop-up camper is about, I think it's closing in on 15, 16 years old now, so it does not have a heater and air conditioner on top of the unit. Now, a lot of the pop-up units you get today, of course, have that. They come standard, but we don't have one. We searched around. We couldn't find one that we thought the price was right, that we thought was going to retrofit well. And when we started thinking about how we were going to heat and cool our tiny house, of course, with the ClimateRight unit, we got this great idea. Hey, it's a portable AC heater, so why don't we use that for our pop-up as well? So that's what we're doing today. We're installing our ClimateRight CR 7000 Max into our Jayco pop-up trailer.
We've owned our pop-up trailer for a couple of years now, and so far it has acted pretty much as anyone else's pop-up trailer, with laminate flooring and some cabinets with a wood veneer. It featured a small banquette, a small kitchenette, and of course some storage benches that also served as seating areas. But since our family has grown, our needs for the pop-up have changed. We found that with a young daughter, we needed space for her to play indoors because it wasn't always the best time to go outdoors. We also found that the ice box was not what we needed anymore. We needed a small refrigerator. So we felt like now was a great time to make some of those changes and again, install a heating and cooling system.
Okay, so let's talk about a few of the materials we're going to be using today. Now, it was a little bit tricky to find some of these materials and figure out how we were going to do this install because it's not a traditional install, so to speak. We're working with very thin walls. In fact, a lot of pop-ups, whether or not you know it, they have either fiberboard or they actually have cardboard walls with a little bit of sheet metal on the outside. So we knew we were working with some parameters that we weren't completely familiar nor comfortable with. So we went up to our local hardware store and we started looking in both the PVC, plumbing, and a couple other sections, the appliance section with the dryers and the washers and that sort of thing. And what we came up with is what we're going to show you today. Now, the very first thing is, of course, our hose that came with the CR 7000. Now, this hose is about 4 inches in diameter. Now, it is metric when it comes to you, so it's about 10.2 centimeters, give or take. Please don't quote me on that measurement because I can't remember the exact measurement off the top of my head, but I know that when we went to a traditional box hardware store here in America, here in the United States, we looked for 4-inch because that was the closest in diameter. So what we've got is we've got a hose. Now there's two hoses to the CR 7000. One hose is for the air to blow out and one is the return hose so that it can have the air come out, measure the temperature, and make sure that your thermostat is working correctly. Now, so what we ended up purchasing was a couple of things. On the inside of the camper, we really wanted it to look nice. We wanted it to look like it came that way. We really wanted a nice, clean look. So what we ended up with was a 4-inch diameter replacement vent hood. Now we found this, of course, in the dryer section, and I'm just going to pull this out of the package so you can see it. It has a nice collar around it with 4 screw holes. Now this is what it's going to look like on the wood, just like that. Now you may be concerned a bit by these little vent caps, these little vent windows, if you will. Don't be, because they're actually just connected with a little plastic tab. We're going to pull them out of the tab. Well, just like that. We're going to pull it out of the tab, so what we've got is an open hole. We're then going to replace that hole with a bit of a screen that we also picked up. So that's what it's going to look like on the inside. So we've got a nice collar that's going to not flush mount, but be a very clean mount inside the camper. One of the other pieces we picked up was this rubber boot. Now, as you can see, gasket boot, whatever you want to call it, it's a 4-inch diameter as well, or 101 millimeters. It's usually for sewer and drain use, but what we're going to do is connect it to a piece of PVC pipe that's also going to run inside of the camper and allow that really nice tight seal for our CR7000 hoses. Now, of course, it's got the clamps on it, so it enables it to compress just a little bit so you can get a nice good fit and then tighten it up. So you're going to see how that works in just a minute when we start installing this. Now, one of the first things we're going to do is go inside the camper. We're going to measure for where we want our 2 holes to be, drill a pilot hole, take our protractor. We're going to do this the old-fashioned way, man, old school. We're going to take a protractor, draw a 4-inch circle, and then we're going to use our little scroll saw so that we can cut out that circle and begin the installation. I predict it's going to take about 15 minutes to do. We'll see. But stay with us, because we're going to learn how to install the CR7000 Max portable AC and heat unit into our pop-up camper.
It's at this point that we pretty much repeat the process on the outside. We measure our hole, we cut our hole, we remove the sheet metal and the little bit of wood and cardboard that make up the wall. We have our hole, we fit the rubber boot just to make sure that our hole is the right size. Then we take our boot out, we connect our hose that came with the ClimateRight 7000, we attach it to the boot, we tighten up the ring, and then we insert it again, preparing to actually use the ClimateRight 7000. Now, the important thing to remember is that once we do have it fit, we do have it snug, and we have the collar secured, that on the inside we need to make sure that our vents are in place. This vent is for the outlet so that it can measure the temperature inside and make sure that the unit works correctly. Notice the grating that we talked about earlier in the video. Once we've screwed that in and it's fastened correctly, then and within just under an hour, we've installed our ClimateRight CR7000 so that we can have heat and air inside of our Jayco pop-up camper. Now you can see it sits securely right where the propane tank used to sit. And when we travel, well, we use a very sophisticated system. We simply pull out the hose provided with the CR7000 and we replace it with a threaded PVC pipe end. Perhaps the most important step though is actually taking your pop-up camper to the campground, where on those cold nights you're sure to stay warm, and on those hot days you're going to stay cool with the ClimateRight CR7000 and your pop-up camper.